Before we begin, this one isn't about rejecting anyone's beliefs. It's really about how we each choose to relate to them through curiosity, metaphor, and lived experience. Welcome to Star Potential, the podcast for curious, soul led humans who know there's more available. They want to explore it with depth, joy, and a little play. Here, we talk about reclaiming your authentic voice, shedding old identities, and expanding into who you're becoming without taking yourself too seriously. I'm your host, Julie Jo Hughes. Let's get curious, let it be fun, and see what ignites. Are you a sheep or a cat? I just had the most interesting and satisfying conversation with a couple of young men from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, also known as the Mormons. I'm always that person that answers the door and welcomes the conversation. There's always something to gain when we get the opportunity to look through someone else's lens. One of the first questions they asked was whether I go to church. And I told them I don't. I start my day in meditation, and that's where I connect with God. And before we knew it, we were knee-deep in philosophy right on my front porch. And after about 30 minutes of curious dialogue, they said, well, this has been a really deep conversation. This was really a lot of philosophy that we talked about. And I said, well, I live for these kinds of conversations. I actually have a podcast. And so he was asking how long I've had the podcast. I was just wrapping up my 1-year anniversary episode and talking about what I've learned. And the more honest and vulnerable I am about my own lived experience, I do lose the masses. And my audience becomes narrower and narrower. And I see that as me being on the right track, because by truly expressing from my lens, I resonate with the people who resonate with my message. And I said, it's a lot like what you guys are doing here. Like, not everyone is going to resonate with the message that you're out here sharing, but there are people that will. And I assume that's why you keep doing what you're doing, because you know that there are people who will really resonate with that message, and that's going to be their stepping stone to getting closer to God. So we're all just kind of out here doing our thing through our lens, trusting that it attracts the right audience, the right people. And that's when the conversation took an unexpected turn. He made some kind of a reference to sheep or something. And I said, yeah, if we all just dress the way we're told to dress and do what we're told to do, it's a lot easier to steer a herd than a bunch of, I don't know, what's an animal that just does whatever it wants to do? And one of the young men said, cats? And I said, yes, exactly. Exactly. That's why we have that expression. Like, it's like herding cats. Cats are impossible to herd because they have no desire to be like the cat next to them. They do not have a herd mentality. Each cat does what he wants to do. And two cats come into a room, and if their energy doesn't vibe, they are quick to go, ugh, you are not my cup of tea. But they don't try to change the other cat. They don't try to make that cat be the way that they are. They just instinctively recognize, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to hang out on this couch over here, and you can stay on your couch over there. I'm going to let you be who you are. I'm going to be who I am. We don't need to try to change each other. And I said, that's actually, I think you guys just gave me my next episode. But how beautiful. What would the world look like if we were a little less sheep sometimes and a little more cat? Can you imagine? Like, such a beautiful spectrum of personality and colors. And cats are so deep with their communication. They can say so much with just a look of their eye, right? Or a little twitch of their tail. But anyone who's had a cat knows you don't control them. They run the house. Somehow we believe that if we are sheep, we will survive more. Sheep have an understanding and a belief that my strongest chance of survival is by staying with the herd. the last thing I want to do is get left behind. That's the sheep mentality. It's not all bad. There's safety in the herd and in what feels familiar, but cats move differently. Cats have 9 lives. They're not always doing whatever it takes to do just to survive. Cats are hunters. They will survive, but they're going to do it on their terms. I just got so inspired today thinking about how much different the world would be if we adopted a little more of a cat mentality and a little less of a sheep mentality. So that's your food for thought today. As you go through your day, as you make your decisions, as you decide what's right for you, are you a sheep or are you a cat? I think sometimes we need to experience what it's like to be a sheep to decide if being a cat is really what we want. That's the beauty of it, is that we do have the freedom to choose. We can choose who our spirit animal is. But there's so much to learn from the animal kingdom. And I, for one, am deciding to enter this year, 2026, like a cat. I'm going to rest when I'm tired. I'm going to stalk the things I really desire, go after them, strike when the timing is just right. I'm going to hang out with the cats that I resonate with. I'm going to instinctively recognize when I enter a space where there's cats who are totally different energy than I am and respect that they are who they are, but I can stay in my energy and not let the other cats upset me. Those cats can be who they are. That's the beauty of it. And I get to choose the cats I want to be around. And whenever I fall, I'm going to land on my feet. Until next time, Starlight, keep expanding those edges. Try on some different lenses. See what it would be like. What can you learn from the animal kingdom? Choose an animal. Find a couple of characteristics that you really admire about that animal and try them on this week. See, what would it be like to express a little bit of fox energy? What would it be like to adopt some of the characteristics of the hawk, of the horse? Try it on, report back to us. I can't wait to hear. Take care and see you next week. If something in this episode lit you up or sparked a little curiosity, you might be in the middle of a soul shift of your own. I created a free quiz called Are You in a Soul Shift? To help you explore where you are and what's opening next. Just go to juliejohughes.com/quiz or find the link in the show notes. And if you're enjoying the show, would you please leave a quick rating or review? It helps create a ripple to reach other curious souls. Until next time, stay curious and let yourself play.